We can do the roll call, but we already know that everyone is here. Ms. Valerie's running a little bit late due to traffic. And so we'll just go ahead and move on. If I could invite Pastor Courtney Scholl, and I am proud to say Pastor Courtney Scholl, and to do our invocation.
Shall we stand? Let's pray. Eternal God, our Father, how we thank you for this day. Thank you for this time. Thank you for this experience. God, we ask now that you smile upon this meeting. Have it to be what you need it to be, oh God. Bless every individual that's here. Bless every individual that's on their way. God, we ask a special blessing for the city of Dayton. Continue to bless this city like only you can, God. Cover each individual citizen, this family, whatever's represented in Dayton, let it grow and be to what you would have it to be. Bless this council, oh God, but bless this mayor as he gives leadership to this council. Then, oh God, I ask that you bless the law enforcement of this city. Bless this chief, oh God. Continue to cover him like you need him to be covered, God. That no hurt, harm, or danger come over anyone in this lovely city. God, we love you and we honor you. We thank you for what you're getting ready to do. We thank you for what you have already done. It is in Jesus' name that I pray. We all said amen.
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 Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas flag.
On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Alrighty. Moving to our citizen comment period. We have a few. So I just want to make sure that it is the citizen comment folks are aware that council is not allowed to respond. That we're here to listen, and we will offer each one of you 3 minutes. At which time, please don't make me throw the gavel. I don't really want to be mean today. So if we can get Ms. Terry to come.
Thank you, Mayor. And I will try very hard to keep under 3 minutes. While we're here today first off, thank you for giving me a few moments. We came to tell you a story basically about something that happened in February. On February 20th, there was a power line pulled down off of a residential road. Our truck had been in there, and the resident contacted us very distressed because the pole at their home was actually broke. And the way I understand it, CenterPoint will not even help them until that is repaired. We didn't have a lot of time. It was pretty, she was out of electricity. She was very distressed, what I understand. And so we chose to go ahead and pay for it. But after our investigation, after the fact, we didn't feel like we did it at all. But that's not what we're here today. I just want to let you know that this situation is out there. We're fine with how we handled it. We did the right thing in our minds, that's what we should have done. And so we did pay for it to be repaired. And I think it was Dayton Electric handled it for us. And we were pleased to be able to help that resident. So what I'm going to be doing in the next day or so is reaching out to your city manager and everything to get contacts for all the people that have cables up. As far as electric contact, who y'all deal with the cable, and I know in some places there's still phone lines on poles. So we sort of want to just get a contact list so that we can be more proactive and have that for our drivers and us so that we don't have to try to search people out no matter what time of day it is or anything. So that is basically what I'm here today. And good to see all of you. And I look forward to coming back with maybe even a few things to talk about. Okay? Thank y'all very much. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor?
Yeah.
The BACA, they're gonna speak whenever you do their proclamation. So
Yeah.
Sarah would be next. Okay.
Okay. If we can invite Ms. Sarah Vickery.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff, citizens. My name is Sarah Vickery. I am the president of the Liberty County Republican Women's Club. We're governed by the Texas Federation of Republican Women, and our purpose is ultimately to preserve conservative principles in Liberty County and across Texas. We do this by supporting conservative candidates in races across the state. Texas Federation of Republican Women, TFRW, is one of the largest women's political organizations in the nation, and we're a member of the National Federation of Republican Women. TFRW holds fast to underlying principles of the Republican Party, which is government by the people, and the belief that people must be a part of the process if it's to work effectively. TFRW supports grassroots level activism to influence legislation at our state capitol. Our members logged nearly 4 million hours working on campaigns during recent cycles. TFRW is undeniably the most powerful women's political organization in Texas today. I am proud to be a part of it. We do accept men into our organization as associate members. They do not have a vote, but their support is important to our mission because they help us to further those conservative principles that have positive impacts in our communities. Currently, we're working on scholarship opportunities for graduating seniors across Liberty County and voter registration outreach. I am currently one of, I believe, 7 deputy voter registrars in all of Liberty County. Our next meeting is tomorrow, Tuesday, March 19th at 6 p.m. We meet at Newark Family Worship Center in Liberty. We would love to welcome any conservative woman or man who is committed to conservative principles and is ready to stand alongside us to make a real difference in their community. I've given Jennifer a little flyer for you guys. It's got our website and also our Facebook page, and we would love to see you guys at some point. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Moving into presentations, updates, or reports. Do we have everyone here for BACA? Okay, if we can have you guys come forward. I have something for you. Wherever y'all want to stand, that's completely okay. What I have is a proclamation that I'm going to be declaring BACA Heroes Weekend. It says, whereas the city of Dayton is pleased to join the Bikers Against Child Abuse Incorporated in celebrating the last weekend of April 2024 as BACA Heroes Weekend in Texas. And whereas Bikers Against Child Abuse is an international nonprofit organization dedicated to providing support and healing to children who have been abused. These young victims are known among the organization's members as heroes. And whereas this exemplary organization has instituted a number of initiatives to champion the victims of child abuse, notably adoption ceremonies at which an abused child is brought into Bikers Against Child Abuse family. And whereas it is truly fitting that a weekend be set aside to pay tribute to the bravery and determination shown by the victims of child abuse and facing and overcoming their trauma. Now, therefore, let it be resolved that the City of Dayton hereby commend the members of the Bikers Against Child Abuse Incorporated on their important work and their commitment to supporting the victims of child abuse and extend to them the best wishes for a successful BACA Heroes Weekend. And let it be further resolved that a copy of this resolution be prepared in honor for this special event. Now, therefore, I, Martin Mudd, do hereby proclaim the last weekend in April 2024 as BACA Heroes Weekend. In witness thereof, I have set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Dayton to be affixed to this date of the 18th of March, 2024.
Awesome.
Thank you very much. You're welcome to say word from wherever you want to be.
You can just go to the microphone.
If you want to go to the mic, you can.
I want to share with y'all
why we consider them to be our heroes. These kids have been through a lot, and a lot of times when they go to court, if their family been subpoenaed as a possible witness, they can't go into the courtroom with them, and they go in there to the court by themselves, and they get up there in a room full of people, and they tell their truths, and that makes them a true hero to us.
Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you.
Okay. One more. Do we have the East Harris Chambers Liberty County Alumni Chapter here?
Delta Sigma Theta sorority. No, sir. But if you would go ahead and just read the proclamation, please,
Okay.
and so you can sign it and we give it to them.
Okay. All right. Proclamation from the Office of the Mayor, whereas Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated was founded on January 13th, 1913 by 22 collegiate women at Howard University to promote academic excellence and provide assistance to those in need. In March of the same year, the founders participated in the Women's Suffrage March in Washington, D.C. as their first public act. They saw no limit to their vision for sisterhood, scholarship, and service in their stand for social justice. 106 years later, the sorority remains at the forefront of the action as the voice of those in need. And whereas on behalf of the city of Dayton, it is an honor to commemorate the 5-year anniversary of the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, chartering of the East Harris Chambers Liberty County Alumni Chapter. This significant milestone represents a journey defined by unwavering dedication to sisterhood, scholarship, service, and social action, benefiting the residents of East Harris, Chambers, and Liberty counties. Whereas East Harris Chambers County Alumni Chapter is comprised of over 90 college-educated women committed to the establishing a chapter to execute service to residents in the East Harris of Chambers, Harris, and Liberty County. We are the 1050th chapter to be chartered within the sorority. The chapter is within the Blazing Southwest region under the leadership of our Regional Director, Michelle Brown, and our National Honor President and CEO, Beverly Smith. Whereas the City of Dayton proudly joins the Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated in the spirit of sharing this special occasion as it celebrates its new East Harris Chambers Liberty County Alumni Chapter. Now therefore, I, Martin Mudd, do proclaim the 30th of the day of March 2024 as East Harris Chambers Liberty County Alumni Chapter Day. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the City of Dayton to be affixed on this 18th day of March 2024. We want to thank them for all that they do for the community in each one of our counties. Moving into presentations, I believe we have a presentation from Energy.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. Really quick, I know we've got some really important matters to get to. I just wanted to come before you today to raise awareness for a new campaign that we have. So what we've done, we have a lot of options for customers who they can't afford to make improvements on their home that could help them save money on their electric bill. They sometimes can't afford even their electric bill. So what we've done is combine all of the resources that we have internally into one spot for them to apply for those services. These handouts will be going in bills and via mail to all of our customers. But some customers, they'll see, oh, it's something from Energy. I get my bill delivered electronically. They're just going to throw it away. And this may benefit them, or it may benefit someone that they know. So I definitely wanted to raise awareness with you all in hopes that you can help me raise awareness with the community as well. So a couple of these services that will be included in this new single stop is energy efficiency. So we do offer residential energy efficiency services. We have an annual budget of this. Residential customers every year can apply for this service as long as the home hasn't been built within the last 8 years. So if the home's 8 years old or older, they can apply for this service. We will send out a licensed contractor who will make some improvements to the grounds, resealing their windows, resealing their doors. They will add additional, sorry, I lost my train of thought. They'll add some additional improvements into the attic to help seal in air conditionings. They'll replace all non-LED lights with LEDs. They'll add a dehumidifier to the home, which helps regulate the temperature. All that would be included in the service. They'll also make recommendations for anything that's not included that they feel would be very beneficial to the customer. Provide them with a list of licensed contractors locally that can perform that service, and give them an approximate cost. So that way the customer goes in knowing, like, okay, it should cost this month this much, and a contractor they may elect to go with would not then be able to, overcharge for that service. The bill pay assistance we offer as well. We have a couple of different programs. One program that's near dear to my heart is the Power to Care, which is an internal program that I donate to every month. We get the special lanyard that's a Power to Care lanyard. The only way to get that lanyard is if you are a regular donator. It comes right out of your paycheck every pay period, and it's really cool. But that is a service specifically for the elderly and the disabled. They'll be able to apply for that here as well, but not just the elderly and disabled. If we have low-income customers who are not elderly and disabled, they'll be able to put their information on this website, and it will tell them, hey, here are some organizations that we work with that can help you with your bill. So these are all residential offerings. I wanted to really quick add on to this, and then I promise I'll turn it over to any questions if you have. If not, then I can go sit back down and let us get to the real work. We have a commercial option for our customers that have multifamily dwellings, apartment complexes, where we're going in to help them refurbish and or upgrade their air conditioning units. Those landlords can apply for the service, and we will go in, typically about 75% or more of the total overall cost. We just approved an apartment complex in Beaumont to cover almost $350,000 toward the cost of upgrading their air conditioning units. By upgrading the air conditioning units, it will lower those customers' bills. So, another way that we're trying to give back to our customers that are more on the low income side. Okay. Any questions?
I have one question.
Yes, ma'am.
The first program that you were talking about, where you would go in and look at the windows, seals, and all of that type of thing, is that for houses only, or would manufactured homes also be part of that?
It would be part of that, yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
And is the only way to apply online, because a lot of elderly residents might not be online or have smartphones?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, the only way to apply is online. Paper applications we would not accept for that program, but I'm happy to help with any customer who maybe not is computer literate, or have a smartphone and be able to submit an application via smartphone, tablet, computer, whatever. I'm happy to help them get an application in. Any other questions?
Can we get some sort of a flyer from you guys with this information on it, or do we have one?
Absolutely. That Jennifer, thank you, Jennifer, has been displaying it. This is the actual flyer. It's a 2-pager that will be going out to all customers this month of March.
Okay.
So there's a QR code right there for customers to scan it, and it'll take them directly to the page where they can, get all their information put in and know what they can apply for, what they're qualified for, and applications can be submitted through that.
Yeah, my question was mainly so that we can get it on our Facebook page as well.
Yeah, we have the information and we're gonna put it on our website and Facebook.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
I had it done at my house. device, and it works really well. Years ago.
Awesome. Okay, moving into, city manager updates, and finance reports.
Okay, Mayor, City Council, just a reminder of what we are experiencing right now with TxDOT. As I made you aware of in our weekly update, TxDOT is asking us to remove or replace some of the trees in which we call the Memorial Mall trees. Those trees was actually donated by loved ones in memory of someone they may have lost. We've been talking with the enhancement committee, and I do know that they went in and spoke to TxDOT about it as well. So we're hoping that they would let the trees remain. The reason for the trees to be removed is they're trying to put up a cable barrier, thinking it would help solve some of the issues with traffic conditions and wrecks that have been occurring. But instead of hitting the tree, I guess you just hit the cable. Imagine that. Anyway, we continue to speak with TxDOT and hopefully we can save the trees. Henderson Day Park, I don't know if some of you have passed by, but we have started the construction of updates to this park. We've actually gone in and staff have placed new playscape equipment out there. We're waiting on a date from the contractor to come and build a gazebo. Once completed, we would do a new ribbon cutting for those updates at Henderson Day Park. Staff was able to sign more documents for the Mid-Mart grant. That's the $1.4 million that we are waiting for from GLO in order for us to get sewer work completed on the north side of town. Still waiting on a date for those funds to be released. I would like to congratulate Derek Woods. Derek was selected as someone to sit, and I will tell you this, my understanding of this program, everyone is not accepted to sit and go through training for the National Command Course that's ran through the FBI, and Derek was selected, and we just want to congratulate him on that. I would also like for various different departments head to come up and give an update. I think it's more fitting for them to update council on a couple of projects they have. Chris, if you'd like to get started, please.
Good evening, council. If you did not know, the city hosted Friday Night Bites on March 8th of this month. For all intents and purposes, it was a very successful event. We had approximately 300 or so participants. It went on without any major incident occurring. It was a big collaboration effort via all the departments of the city, so that also was a success, something to be noted. We had 12 vendors, from food trucks to dessert providers. We had food of all different types of variety out there. And then we also had a Zydeco band for entertainment who did really well. It was loud, but it was also, it was a festive event. It needed to be loud. So
I heard it from my house.
It was great. Even though it was loud, we did stay within the ordinance guidelines.
that's right.
At 9 o'clock it was done.
That's
Yes.
correct. And we did have that entertainment sponsored by one of our city's partners, one of the city partners. So again, all together, great collaboration, great planning, great execution, great event.
Thank you, Chris. Murphy, would you come up and give an update, please?
Good evening, council. So my updates is going to be two different projects. One is the overpass, Highway 90. We did get, they give us access to dig in the center median to look for our force mains. Unfortunately, we did not find them. We dug about 60 feet and about 18 foot deep. We did not locate them. So we backed up and we applied for a permit from UP to dig in their easement for it. That way our machine will reach it. Our machine won't reach it, so that's what we're gonna have to do on that. Hopefully we'll find it.
Have they responded back on the permit request?
Not yet, not yet. We've reached out to them 2 or 3 times, so hopefully we'll hear something tomorrow or next day, hope.
I'd send somebody by their office and see if they can
Well,
expedite it.
I hope, well, no, we went there, and they told us absolutely not, they ain't where you go, so. We're in the right office, they just gotta get somebody to respond back to us. The other one is pipe bursting, the videos that y'all approved for us to do the sewer lines. So we completed today, and I've reviewed 95% of the lines. Unfortunately, every one I reviewed, every one of the lines need replacing. They are terrible, they're bad. So we're working with 2 different contractors on getting some estimates on pipe bursting, and we'll bring it back to y'all and see where y'all want to go with that.
I will tell you the amount that we are receiving on the cost is more than what we budgeted for the streets.
Yes, there's two lines that the city needs to address immediately, and that's Hillcrest and Houston Street. And we've already had a video, this is prior to me being here, but they're collapsing. If we would do them 2 streets and the pavement, we're well over what y'all wanted, so.
So what is that number looking like as of right now?
Them 2 streets alone were about $700,000
Each or together?
together.
Together.
Okay.
Is that the only estimate that you have?
No
for
ma'am,
those two streets?
no ma'am, I'm doing all the streets. The sewers, the top 20 streets that we picked on the list,
What does that look like?
I haven't completed that yet,
Okay,
but we're working on it. We'll be getting back with you,
thanks.
with them numbers. Thank you.
Thank you. That'll be it, thanks, Steph.
Okay, our finance report.
Stressing me out. I know. Good evening, Mayor and Council. This report represents a general review of the financial operations for February 2024, which is the 5th month of the fiscal year. 23-24, we're at 41.67% complete. For the general fund, we have total revenues there are at $6,440,448, or 60.6% of budget, which is 3.6% less than last year to date due to reduced transfer from the water sewer fund and sale of surplus. For the total expenditures, we're at $3,954,936, or 36.7% of budget, which is 9.1% more than last year to date. However, expenditures are trending 5% lower than budgeted numbers for the fiscal year. Revenues are over expenditures by $2,485,512, which are increasing as we collect more revenue in upcoming months. Staff will keep monitoring the revenues and expenditures. For the water and sewer fund, we have total revenues at $2,972,314, or 42% of budget, which is 3.3% more than last year to date, and this is due to the interest and billing collections. For the total expenses, we are at $3,144,383, or 45.6% of budget, which is 40.5% more than last year to date, and this is due to the debt payments. Revenues are under expenses by $172,070. Once again, it's due to the wrong payments we paid. For the solid waste fund, total revenues are at $331,695, or 40.8% of budget, which is trending within budget. For the total expenses, there are $231,030, or 33.2% of budget. Revenues are over expenses by $100,665 due to determined trending within budget. For the fiber fund, total revenues are at $92,421, or 82.3% of budget, which is 72.8% more than last year to date, and this is due to the increase of interest. For the total expenses, we are at 300,610 or 21% of budget, which is significantly more than last year due to the fiber installation, contractor services, and personal expenses. Revenues are still under expenses by 208,189, and this is due to the fiber expenses that are current and to continue to serve the city of Dayton. Any other questions?
I do want to say thank you to Leslie. As you were going through this, I was thinking about kind of where we were at this time last year, and I really appreciate you stepping up and helping us understand this budget process a little bit better. Even though it does stress you out a little bit.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, I think that's all for the department reports. Moving into mayoral staff and council comments. Anybody have any comments? I have one that is, just to put it out there, we've been posting it on Facebook. It's the April 5th at 7:30 in the morning. We're doing coffee and donuts with the mayor here at the here in this building, and all of the public is invited. Kind of a informal meeting to get together, and don't really want to turn it into a gripe fest, but just a place for you to come and air your grievances and tell me what a good job you think I'm doing. That would be awesome. Probably won't happen though. But yeah, that'll be April 5th at 7:30. We're going to start doing this as a quarterly event, so there will be more coming up.
I have a few things. Thursday, March 21st from 5 to 7 p.m., the Dayton Noon Lions Club is hosting their annual pancake supper at the First Baptist Church Family Life Center. Saturday, March 30th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., Market 535 is sponsoring the Blooming Market annual event, vendor market at the Crossroads. Friday, you just talked about. Saturday, April 6th from 9 to 2, the Dayton Volunteer Fire Department is hosting a blood drive during the farmers market at the Crossroads. And at the same time, from 11 to 2 that day, JLA is sponsoring a pet adoption and supplies drive. And if you have any pet supplies you wish to donate, supplies can be dropped off at JLA Monday through Friday, anytime between now and that pet adoption day on April 6th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
The Mount Pleasant Baptist Church would like to thank the city for the proclamation that was given to their newly installed pastor on March 17th. You did a good job.
Moving into the consent agenda. Can I get a motion on our consent agenda as written?
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Okay, I have a motion to approve with a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Consent agenda passes. Moving into tax increment and reinvestment zone number 3 board meeting.
So, Mr. Mayor, if you can recess our council meeting and then open, say the time and open this PERS number 3 meeting. We're having a meeting within a meeting on this one.
Okay, I was wondering how that was going to happen. Okay, so it is now 6:34 p.m. and I hereby recess our normal city council meeting and convene the tax increment and reinvestment zone number 3 board meeting.
Thank you, Mayor. This is the PERS board for the Villages of West Point subdivision, that PERS that was created. And there's 2 items here. The first one, item A, is naming, first of all, just so you all know, the council serves as the board of directors of this PERS. Unlike the Gulf Inland PERS, it's on the council. Whoever's on council is that. But we do need you all to appoint a chairman, vice chairman, and secretary, and I believe that, and Chris Guevara is here, and I'm gonna let him take it away, he's with our bond council, but I believe the mayor is the de facto chairman under our ordinance creating it.
That's correct. So Chris Guevara, Norton Rose Fulbright, I'm associate at that firm, and we serve as bond counsel to the city. So this TERS was created as background. The TERS was created in March of 2022. It has the same boundaries as the West Point Villages Public Improvement District. At the time, the TERS adopted a TERS plan for the improvements in the TERS, and at that time, a chairman, let me start over. A vice president, a treasurer, and a secretary of the TERS board were elected. I believe that because of the turnover in the city council at this time, I believe only Director Lawson would be the treasurer, or would be the only remaining officer from that original election. So we would need the TERS 3 board to elect a vice chairman to preside over meetings whenever the current chairman, the mayor, is absent. And we will need a secretary elected to certify as to the proceedings of the board. So for tonight, it would just be signing the secretary's certificate for the resolution that you would consider after this election. We also have Andrea Barnes at P3 Works, who is there, the PID and TERS administrator for the city. So if you have any questions concerning the TERS, anything like that, we're happy to answer those.
Chris, are you asking for council to go ahead and nominate and vote on?
Sure. You said for, I think last time around in 2022, Councilmember Connor has served.
Yes, he's no longer.
He's no longer here, but I know I believe he was elected as the secretary, and Councilmember Burress was elected as the vice chairman. Maybe that's a different,
Do we have anyone who would like to serve as secretary or vice president?
I would like to nominate Councilwoman Tanya Smichael as vice chairman.
And I want to nominate Ms. Barton for, what was the other one? I'm sorry, secretary, I think? You said so many different names.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
Okay.
Vice chair and secretary.
Okay.
So if we can just get a motion from somebody, if y'all would like to name Tanya as vice chair and Valerie as secretary, then y'all can vote on that.
She just did for her.
If,
He did, but we did.
but the mayor can't
Yeah.
make the motion, so
I can nominate, but I can't make the motion.
that's all right.
So we need a motion, if anybody agrees.
I'd like to make a motion that we do Ms. Valerie Barton for secretary and Ms. Tanya Schmeichel for vice chairman for TERS board of three.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion carries.
All right, well, our next item for consideration is a resolution, a resolution that would approve the amended and restated project and finance plan for the TERS and authorize or recommend the approval of an amendment to the TERS agreement between the city and the developer. As I mentioned earlier, the project and finance plan, the original one, was passed in 2022 for this TERS. The TERS has the same boundaries as the PID, as the West Point Villages Public Improvement District. So the TERS projects are solely projects which are undertaken within the district. The project and finance plan lays out all the authorized projects and the priority through which TERS funds may be used. TERS funds are used to pay reasonable administrative costs of the zone, and for this TERS to offset the PID assessments for the West Point Villages PID. If there are any residual amounts or TERS funds left over, those flow back to the general fund of the city. If there are any questions or anything like that, I'm happy to walk through those, or we can talk to P3 as well.
Chris, what's changing? What's the amendment?
So the project and finance plan is being amended and restated to include improvement area number 2 of the PID. So this PID is divided in, West Point Village's PID is divided into 2 improvement areas. The first improvement area bonds were issued for that in 2022. We're back now for almost 2 years later for the second improvement area. The amendment to the TERS plan would just revise it such that it includes the projects attributable to improvement area number 2 so that it can be used, the TERS funds can be used to offset those PID assessments as they have been for improvement area number 1.
I assume we gotta do this every time we add a new phase to it, right?
Yes, sir.
But this is the last.
Yeah,
phase.
this is the last one.
phase, yes.
Okay.
John, Mark McLeod, Samco Capital Markets, with financial advisor on this. This is exactly the plan that was going forward as West Point Villages started. So we separated West Point Villages into phase 1 and phase 2. We did a service and assessment plan for the PID. We did a TERS plan for the TERS for phase 1. All we're doing now is just including phase 2 bonds so that the money can be used to pay down the assessments on phase 2 for the exact same projects that were outlined in the beginning of the project prior to the first PID bonds. So it's really just following through the plan that started probably about 2021. So we're happy to address how PID 1 and PID 2 are the same greater project, but 2 separate if there's questions on that. We needed to fund the first phase so we could sell the homes. Now this is the second phase. It's completed. We're now going to start being able to move forward with selling the homes there, selling the lots.
We have any citizen comments?
No.
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 So do we need to do a motion at this point? What is the motion that we need? Just to
Resolution.
approve the amendment changes?
To approve the resolution.
Okay. All right. Can I get a motion to?
I make a motion that we approve resolution R2024-14.
Second.
Have a motion to approve with a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Resolution carries. It is now 6:43 p.m. and I hereby recess the tax increment investment zone.
You can close that one.
Huh?
You can close this one.
Okay, so
You
I'm
can close the
closing.
first one and then reopen.
I'm closing the tax increment reinvestment zone number 3 board meeting and hereby reconvene the city council meeting for Dayton, Texas.
And now, Mr. Guevara is gonna go over, he and Mr. McCliney have a whole bunch of these in a row, so I'm just gonna turn it over to him.
Sure. So item 9A is the public hearing to consider proposed assessments in improvement area number 2 of the West Point Villages Public Improvement District. It's the public hearing, so any interested citizen can come forward and speak on it. The total assessment was $11,917,000 to support the issuance of bonds for improvement area number 2. As I've said before, we have representatives from Q3 Works and financial advisor of the city. If there are any questions on that.
On the public hearing, do I have to open anything for public hearing?
We just I wrote down 6:44 is when we started it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can just open the public hearing.
You're good.
Make sure, okay.
We just need to make sure there's nobody here with public comment.
Okay. Is there anybody here for public comment regarding the West Point Villages resolution?
No, it's not that.
Okay. All right, so then we move into action item, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So action item A, consider with possible action ordinance number 2024-7, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Dayton, Texas, accepting and approving the service and assessment plan, an assessment role for the West Point Villages Public Improvement District, making a finding of special benefit to the property and improvement area number 2 of the district, of the district, levying assessments against the property within improvement area number 2 of the district, and establishing a lien on such property, providing for the method of assessment and the payment of the assessments in accordance with the Chapter 372 Texas Local Government Code as amended, providing penalties and interest on delinquent assessments, and providing for severability, resolving all matters incident and related thereunto, and providing an effective date.
So this is the assessment levy ordinance before you tonight. This ordinance approves the service and assessment plan and assessment role for improvement area number 2 of the West Point Villages Public Improvement District. So its background, as Mark had said, this PID was created in August 21st, 2021. The first series for improvement area number 1 was issued on May 10th, 2022. We're back now levying for the improvements that have been constructed in improvement area number 2, and the assessments would be used to secure the bonds that would be issued to finance those improvements.
And Mr. Mayor and Council, I just want to remind everyone that these assessments are only for the property within the PID. So the next item on here, I believe, is to sell bonds, which would be the next one. These assessments are what would be used to pay down that debt, to pay those bonds down. And so again, if somebody buys a house within this PID, they're signing a disclosure form saying that they know there's an assessment that they're responsible for, essentially almost like another tax, except it's an assessment, not tax. And they have to sign knowing that acknowledging that that's there. And so no city funds would be used to pay any of this down. This is the ordinance that says if you buy a house or if you own land within this area, you have to pay this assessment to help pay for that.
Let me ask you, is West Point where y'all think it should be at, or ahead or behind?
I think it is largely complete. I think I would be.
Charles and Ken address that directly. For the financing part, certainly is right on target. I'd like Charles or Ken can address exactly where they stand on the actual sale of the lots and where they are.
And my other question, was the same an assessment, was the same assessment of fee attached in the first phase as well? Okay. Okay.
Mayor and Council, my name is Charles Von Schmidt. I'm the developer at West Point Villages. The question was, where do we stand? Everything is exactly on the schedule that we originally proposed, except we're ahead. We've actually sold all of Section 3, which is in Improvement Area 2 that you're discussing tonight. Because of the electrical grid issues, we decided to go ahead and build that at the same time as Section 2. So since we had it built, we were also able to sell it. So we're actually ahead by about 12%. Home sales there seem to be going very well. The market seems to be very receptive. And we are currently already under construction on sections 4 through 7, which are also in Improvement Area 7. They've been completely cleared. Detention ponds are 90% complete. And so we're ahead of schedule, and financially all of the financial goals have been met, and the home sales are about exactly where they're supposed to be, maybe a little bit ahead, and lot sales are ahead by a small percentage. So we're calling it a very successful and on schedule project at this point.
How many homes to this point have you sold in number?
We don't actually sell the homes, we're the developers. Last I heard, and I might refer to P3, how many have we sold? Homes?
Which section?
Sections 1 and 2?
524.
No, that's the number of lots.
That's the total.
I'm gonna guess it's around 63.
Okay.
I'm not positive on that, please don't come back if it was 61, but that's about the number.
So out of, what was the number, 500?
524, of which we have only built about 250 of those lots.
Okay.
So out of the first if you look at it from this standpoint, all of section 1 has been sold to builders. 40% of section 2 has been sold to builders. That makes up what we call IA1. 100% of section 3, which is a portion of IA2, has already been sold to Davidson Homes. We were able to bring a third builder in, and so that actually increases the number of marketing dollars being spent in Dayton. And as I said, we're already under construction on sections 4 through 7. So as opposed to when First Council did this, we had very little construction on the ground. It was just a projection that it would happen. At this point, we've exceeded our expectations and the council's expectations, we hope, on IA1, and we're already 20 to 30% of construction is already complete on IA2. So we think it's a very secure investment for the bondholders. And I think the price that was given by the bondholders is indicative of that. We understand a very favorable rate.
Congratulations on bringing in another home builder.
Well, thank you. As a matter of fact, we also were able to bring in a fourth home builder, Hart. They're taking the smaller lots, and they're going to do a cottage-style home in there. And we're going to try to eke the price point down a little bit more, because as everybody knows, the price of everything has gone up, and I'm kind of in sticker shock myself sometimes when I look at the cost of an entry-level home. My entry-level home was $63,000, and my father told me I bought too much. Now, if you could find an entry-level home for $63,000, you'd have to kiss somebody. Are there any other questions for me? Thank you very much, and again, thank you for the city's support. It's been great working with your staff.
Thank you.
Can I get a motion on action item A?
I move that we approve ordinance number O-2024-7 as presented.
A second.
Okay, I have a motion to approve with a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item A carries. Item B, consider with possible action on ordinance number O-2024-8, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Dayton, Texas, approving and authorizing the issuance and the sale of the City of Dayton, Texas Senior Lien Special Assessment Revenue Bond Series 2024A, West Point Villages Public Improvement District Area Number 2 project, and the City of Dayton, Texas Junior Lien Special Assessment Revenue Bond Series 2024B, West Point Villages Public Improvement District Improvement Area Number 2 project, and approving and authorizing related agreements.
Mayor and Council, Mark McCloning with Samco Capital Markets. We're the city's financial advisor. This is actual pricing of the bonds. So we went to market today. We sold $6,742,000 Series 2024A and $5,175,000 of Series of 2024 Series B. The bonds, and Charles mentioned it, were very well received in the market. When we did this the first time, it was really almost completely a dirt bond, almost speculative. Interest rates were off of our benchmark between 244 and 294 basis points above that benchmark. These turned out to be about 220 and 200 to 260 over that same benchmark. So investors are seeing it as less risk, which it is because there's more growth. In addition, we were able to find additional buyers, and I don't want to say we, FMS was your underwriter. FMS Bonds, they buy the bonds and sell them to their customers. In phase one, we sold to 3 institutional investors. It was Goldman Sachs, it was Naveen, and it was Franklin Funds. This bond issue, those 3 all wanted to participate in this bond at 100% of each bond, each maturity. They were able to get a 4th investor. Let me get that name of that investor, who I hadn't seen before, First Eagle Investments. And then on top of that, they also got some high net worth individuals that looked at this. They have to sign a certain percent, which will be coming down as valuation increases. So from our standpoint, and this is gonna be the final funding, once those houses get sold and COs and people move in, this is gonna be considered a very successful PID project. So that's the PID bonds. Our recommendation is to award the bonds to FMS, which will be approved in that ordinance. And I'm happy to address any questions you may have about the actual sale, about the financing, overall project, how the TERS is incorporated, anything to do with what we're looking to approve right now.
We don't have any questions. Can I get a motion on item 11A? We on 11A?
10B.
10B, I'm sorry, on 10B.
I move that we approve ordinance O 2024 -8 as written. Or do I have to?
No, you're good.
A second.
Okay, I have a motion to approve with a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? 10B carries. It is 6:58, and I open public hearing number 2.
No one's not up to speed.
No one's up.
And, yes,
Hi again, Chris Guevara, Northern Rose Fulbright. So, this is a public hearing to consider the amended and restated TERS plan. It was just approved by the TERS board. Because it was approved by the TERS board, now the city council has to approve it on the city side. And Texas law is such that whenever a TERS plan is amended, there has to be a public hearing so that interested members of the public may speak for or against the amended plan or tax increment financing in general.
so this is the same thing y'all voted on in the meeting.
Just a separate board.
It's the exact same TERS plan, the exact same amendment to the TERS agreement between the city and the developer. It's just that it's been approved by y'all as the TERS board, and now it needs to be approved by you as the city council.
Okay. Do I need to close the public hearing? Okay, it is 6:59 p.m. and I hereby close the public hearing and move into action item A. Consider with possible action on ordinance number 0-2024-9, an ordinance of the city of Dayton, Texas, approving the amended and restated final project and finance plan for the tax increment and reinvestment zone number 3, city of Dayton, Texas, and approving and authorizing the mayor to execute an amendment to the TERS agreement in connection with the development of the zone.
Mayor, I move that we approve ordinance O 2024-9 as you just stated.
Second.
All right, I have a motion to approve with a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? 12A carries. Consider with item 12B, consider with possible action on resolution R number 2024-16, approving the street closures for the JLA Pet Supply Drive and Adoption Day event. I think Ms. Michael had just talked about a few minutes ago. Okay. Any questions? I guess I have a question. Which streets are we closing?
We are gonna close, actually, Church Street,
From Cook to Depot.
but it's Church Street.
Anybody have any questions? Okay, can I get a motion on item 12B?
I move that we approve resolution number R 2024-16. -16 is presented.
Do I have a
Second.
All right, I have a motion to approve with a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? I Item 12B carries. Item 12C, consider with possible action on ordinance O 2024-6, considering regarding a franchise agreement with Universal Natural Gas.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is a new franchise agreement. We currently have a franchise agreement with CenterPoint as a natural gas provider within the city. That agreement is a non-exclusive agreement. Universal Natural Gas has approached us wanting to, apparently they're looking to get into the natural gas business in the city of Dayton as well. And so this is a proposed franchise agreement where if we approve it, if you guys approve it, it also is a non-exclusive agreement, but it just means that essentially they can bury their lines in our rights of way, and they still would have to get our approval, just like CenterPoint does or anyone else. But we would get a 5% franchise fee on anything that they sell. So I honestly don't know where they're looking to build, but it's a 25-year agreement, and just we would get 5% of whatever they sell over that time.
So is this a competitor to CenterPoint?
That's what we believe it is. We have not received any plans as far as the location where the lines will be laid.
I can say, I'm with you as well. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for taking up our agenda item this evening. My name is Richard Bard. I'm the head of engineering for Universal Natural Gas. So a little bit about our company. We've been around since 1993, primarily in the Montgomery County area. If you're familiar with the 1488 corridor, that's where our company started in the mid-90s, late 90s. Grew, family business that grew throughout the years. As the company grew, we expanded to other parts of the state. We now operate around four largest cities in the state: the Houston area, San Antonio, Austin, DFW markets as well. Corporate headquarters are located in the Woodlands now, and we are looking to grow here in the city of Dayton. Our first project is the CMC Railroad project that's happening here in the city, which will be providing gas services to them, and looking to hopefully expand our services throughout. Happy to answer any questions about this item.
So is this residential or is this commercial?
We serve residential, we serve commercial, we serve industrial.
So you guys would be competing then with CenterPoint?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have any lines at all in Liberty County?
So we do serve some areas on the west side of Liberty County, near the Kingland subdivision. The borders right there with Montgomery County. So kind of the Cleveland area.
Is there any specific reason why you're looking for a 25-year agreement?
So our typical franchise agreements are from 15 years to 25 years, and then we come back for renewal at that time period. But we're open to that term.
Is that typical, Brandon, for what we normally see for something like this?
I'm trying to remember what our deal with CenterPoint is.
It was 25 years.
That's fix I know we've had it as long as I've been here, and I've been here 15 years. So I want to say it's around 5% as well.
I think it is. It is a win situation for us. If they want us to have the line in, if we don't do 15, at least a 25-year, the line's already there. At least with this, we have that agreement in place where we will get it.
So your company would be able to provide the necessary power for industrial type business, natural gas. I'm trying to understand.
Yes, we would.
Okay. And you're open to less than 25-year agreement initially?
Yeah.
Myself, I'd rather you came in here with some type of plan, with some type of deal to put on the board to show where you're trying to run lines at, what you're trying to do. Just telling us verbally, I don't know, just not enough information for me.
Sure, I mean, that's not a problem.
Do you have a presentation to Gov. Illen at this moment?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, but I want to clarify what has been said. Are you not just going to Gov. Illen at this moment?
Yeah, so that's it for right
That's
now.
it for right now.
Mhm.
Any other development in which he plan on laying the lines, he would have to bring it to staff for approval. What they would have to do is get a permit from the city in order to be able to proceed. So normally the lines don't come to this body because what it's gonna take is we would circulate that throughout every department and make sure it's sufficient enough space for them to lay their line. But at this moment, the plan is just to provide inside the Gulf Inland Logistic Park.
Right.
And this is GASA.
Yeah, and we don't just come in and just put lines all
Okay.
throughout the city. We don't
Right.
do that.
So that's why I was asking, I'm not to interrupt you, that's why I was asking if it was primarily for the industrial.
At this
So it's
moment.
like your Entergy's competitor, but in this instance,
It'd be
initially,
Centerpoint.
I'm sorry, Centerpoint. But initially just focusing on the Gulf Inlet area.
Yeah, so the way we've kind of grown our business is, with our relationships with developer partners that we've made throughout the years. And so what we typically do is when they ask us to look at one of their developments to serve, we look at it, and if we have the ability to serve that development, we agree with them that we'll serve that, as long as we can meet the rules and regulations of that governing jurisdiction, and then we'll go and serve it. We're not in the business of just going and laying lines everywhere, because for us that doesn't make financial sense for us.
So I kind of agree with Councilman Hedrick. I understand what you're saying, and I don't doubt what you're saying. But unless I see it in writing, I don't believe it.
Sure.
What I would like to see is, I'd like to see you guys come back with a plan and some drawings to show us exactly and show us exactly what your plan is to do. That way, in some undetermined amount of time, we're not coming back trying to go through a live stream video to try to figure out what exactly was said. We actually have documents and can prove what was actually being done.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
Again, the proposal is industrial for Gulf Inland. And at this point, that's the full extent of the proposal.
Now, the franchise agreement's for the whole city, though.
Okay.
So, I mean, just for clarity,
So phase one is Gulf Inland with the proposal to be able to come into the entire city.
And this has been looked at by the city staff.
So let me clarify something. I understand what Mr. Hendricks is asking for, and he's agreeing, but to have someone to give you a layout of what they propose in the whole city, they would never get this completed for what they need with Gulf Inland, because they don't have a clue of where they want to lay the lines at this time within the city. The main purpose at this moment is to lay line in the industrial facility in Gulf Inland Logistic Park, is where they're heading at this moment.
I think the problem is though, is that there's nothing written down. And we're
We
just-
do have something written down.
So
We
page
have the agreement.
717, started at
7:35.
7:35, yeah. It's in the package. It's a big package. And it looks like to me just a typical, just scanning through it, a typical franchise agreement.
have y'all been in talks with, Marcus and the group at CDC?
Yes, they have. This has been an ongoing thing.
So
So they've talked to Marcus and Gulf Inland, they've talked to the city.
Yeah.
I make a motion that we approve ordinance O-2024-6 regarding a franchise agreement with Universal Natural Gas.
Everything that I've read in the packet, supports everything that, Valerie was saying, that it is complete.
Yeah.
And, so I second the motion.
So we've got a motion with a second on the floor.
1 second, please. Okay, so I'm reading here, just comment. I don't, am I just missing something about Gulf Inlet? Because all I'm reading here is that eligible and residential customers residing in single-family, multifamily residential dwellings, and then talks about billing.
Yeah, no, Mayor, you're right, the contract is for the whole city. They can branch into the whole city under this contract.
So I'm just trying to be clear. We're approving a franchise for the entire city when we're being told that the plan is only for Gulf Inlet.
This phase.
But
there's no phase 1 or phase 2 written.
right, in order to expand into the city, we would have to get permits and things like that required to do that. The franchise agreement is mainly a rate mechanism for the city to get gross revenue. It's not a mechanism for us to just free, a free license to go put lines in every single right of way in the city. We would still have to go through city staff and get approval through y'all's engineering and public works.
And we're not treating this any different than any other franchise that we have received, and it's the normal process and procedure to handle it.
So there's no commitments. Yeah, because they
That-
still have to
that-
go through.
They have to go through permitting.
Planning and permitting. And it can be denied at that point if it doesn't make sense for the city.
That is correct.
Oh, 717.
That's where it starts. I know.
I'm just not
I read through this contract, I got it, but you may need a little bit more time than.
We have a motion.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out a 25-year agreement.
That's just the time when you're agreements, so city gas agreements in place, franchise agreements in place with the term of 25 years.
Okay. All right, I have a motion to approve with a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? No. Motion carries. Item 12D, consider with possible action on resolution number R 2024 approving the interlocal agreement with Texas DPS for Omni failure to appear program.
All right, this is a tool that the municipal courts use to help collect on our unpaid citations. It's no cost to the city. This is something that we've used, all courts use. It adds a fee to unpaid citations. We put a hold on their driver's license, and that hold is not released until their citations are paid.
Any other questions? Can I get a motion on item 12D?
Make a motion to approve resolution number R 2024-17 for the interlocal agreement with Texas DPS.
Second.
I have a motion to approve with a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item 12D carries. Item 12E, consider with possible action on resolution R number 2024-18 approving the 2023 final audit report.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Mike Brooks, out of partner with Brooks Watson Company, CPAs. And as you mentioned, I will be presenting with your annual financial report for the year ended September 30th of 2023. I normally like to start by thanking the Finance Department. Leslie just stepped out, but I'll be sure to thank her when she gets back. Under the front page, I have prepared a short summary presentation. It's going to touch on some of the more important numbers within the report. So if you would like to follow along, I will go over that now and then open it up to questions. And the pages I'm going to be going over look like this. Okay, first I just want to give a brief overview of the audit process. The audit can be broken into three general phases. The first is the planning and risk assessment phase. So this occurs mid-year, typically during the summer months. We'll come out and sit down with city staff, talk to Leslie and her team, talk to the various department heads, review internal controls, do some of our fact-finding and digging and testing that can occur throughout the year, and putting together our preliminary audit plan. The next stage is the bulk of what we do. This is the year-end field work. So after the books have been closed for the year, we are coming out and auditing all material assets, liabilities, revenues, and expenditures across all funds. So if there is a number within the city that does meet our scope or audit threshold, it is being audited in some form or fashion. The next stage is the conclusion and reporting. So this is the wrap-up of any findings that we did have, the posting of the journal entries that were required to bring the financial statements into accordance with GAAP, the presentation of the preparation and presentation of the audit report and audit opinion. Next, just want to briefly go over the components of your annual financial report. First, we have the auditor's opinion, followed by the management's discussion and analysis. Then the basic financial statements, which include your government-wide fund level and notes to the financial statements. Then we have the required supplementary information, which includes your budget to actual and your TMRS information. Next is what we consider to be the most important component of your annual financial report. This is our contribution, our independent auditor's report. This report can have 4 possible outcomes, the best being an unmodified audit opinion and the worst being an adverse audit opinion. We have issued a clean, unmodified audit opinion on the city's financials. So this is the highest level of assurance that we can give that these financials are free of any material misstatement, and all footnotes are disclosed. Next, I just want to touch on several financial highlights. As of the end of the year, total citywide assets exceeded total liabilities by approximately $33.5 million. Your governmental funds, which include your general, special revenue, debt service, and capital projects funds, had an overall fund balance of $15 million. This was an increase of about $7 million from the prior year. The unassigned fund balance within your general fund totaled $7.5 million as of year end. And the city had an overall increase in net position, citywide net position, of about $5.6 million this year. Next is a summary of your governmental activities revenues. This includes your general fund, your various governmental funds, special revenue, and capital projects. Those consolidated had an overall revenue of $17.5 million. This was just a slight increase of $147,000. 3 largest being property taxes, which totaled $7.9 million and had an increase of about $1.3 million. Your sales taxes totaled just under $2.3 million and had an increase of about $130,000. And your grants and contributions totaled $4.5 million this year and had a decrease of about $1.3 million. Next is a summary of your governmental activities expenses. Total governmental expenses were $14.8 million. This was an increase of about $3.9 million. Your 3 largest being public safety expenses at $5.6 million, which had an increase of about $2.2 million. Your public works expenses totaled $1.6 million and had a slight decrease of just under $60,000. And your general government expenses totaled $4.7 million and had an increase of about $1 million. Next is a summary of your statement revenues, revenues, expenditures, and changes in fund balance for your governmental funds. The major funds include your general, debt service, and economic development grant. The first numbers I want to point out to you are the increase or decrease in the fund balance for the year for each of those funds. You see on the left-hand side, the general fund had an increase in fund balance of about $2.8 million, so this amount was added to your ending fund balance. Your debt service had a decrease in fund balance of about $962,000, which was by design this year. And your economic development grant had a decrease this year of about $2 million. The decrease in your economic development grant was due to timing of the grant reimbursements coming in and the expenditures occurring this year. So this deficit will be fully replenished and already has been replenished. But as far as the financial statement is concerned, it had to be presented this way. But that's not concerning. The next thing I want to point out is your ending fund balance for your general fund. The reason this is important is the city wants to maintain an unassigned fund balance reserve that's adequate to meet the city's needs. The GFOA recommends about 15% or 2 months worth of reserve in your unassigned fund balance for your general fund. As of the end of the year, the city had approximately $7.5 million, which equated to about 50% of your annual general fund expenditures, or about 6 months. So overall, the city's ending fund balance is in a healthy position and above policy. All right. Next is a budget to actual comparison for your general fund. The column on the left are your final budgeted numbers. And the city did have a planned budgeted increase in fund balance of $583,000. So that was after all adjustments that have been made during the year. Your actual results are in the middle, and the city had an overall increase of $2.8 million, so above your budgeted planned increase. And on the right-hand side, you have the positive or negative budget variances. So the number on your upper right is your positive revenue variance of about $1.2 million. So the city received about $1.2 million more than your final budget. And below that, you have a positive expenditure variance of about $1 million. So the city actually spent less than you planned by $1 million this year. But overall, the budget had an overall positive budget variance of about $2.2 million between revenue and expenditures, and it was a healthy fiscal year. Next is a summary of your proprietary funds. These funds do differ from your governmental funds in that they should be self-supporting. So they should have rates that are set at a level that do fund operations, pay for debt service and capital improvements. So if these funds are losing money over time, it's typically an indication that something is wrong there, because they should be bringing enough money in to cover costs. So the first column we're going to look at is your water and sewer fund. During the year, it had an overall increase in net position, so it added to your net position of about $1.9 million. Your fiber fund had an increase of about $162,000. I do want to point out that the fiber fund is not yet self-supporting. It was funded by transfers that came in to cover debt service. So even though that was an overall increase, those revenues weren't all generated by the fund itself. And your refuse fund had an increase of about $25,000. So between your water and sewer and refuse, no issues that we identified, and the fiber fund is still in its infancy, so hopefully that's going to be making increases as it develops. But currently it's still working on it. So. Next, I do want to point out that the city also received a single audit this year. A single audit is required whenever a government expends at least $750,000 of federal grant revenues within a given year, and a single audit is a compliance audit. So it's separate from your financial statement audit. We are coming in and looking at the grant agreements, the grant compliance requirements, doing internal control tests over that, but it's a very detailed, specific compliance audit over those grants themselves.
How long do you think that'll take?
Oh, we already did. So it's all, yeah, and it's in front of you, and whenever you, if you'd like to pull that up, we can. I was just going to go over the highlights of it, but it is the smaller report in front of you, just a few pages. You can see our audit opinions, some notes, and the schedule of federal expenditures. But our results of that audit identified no compliance or grant findings. So the grants that were required to test included the EDA grant and your ARPA grant. Neither were highly complex as far as the compliance requirements are concerned, but the city was managing them correctly, and we had no findings on those, so everything looked good.
I do have one question.
Sure.
On the summary of auditor's results under financial statements, you indicated that there were material weaknesses identified. Is that specifically for the fiber fund only?
It's actually it's related to the financial statements themselves, and has to do with the financial statement audit. It is required to be reported here, but it's related to the city as a whole, so it's not specific to the fiber fund. It is a finding that has to do with the financial reporting that we perform for the city. So whenever we do that, we are considered part of the city's internal control, and we do post a number of journal entries to bring the accounts into GAAP. And whenever we do that, we're required to report that as a material weakness. But ultimately not something that we were overly concerned with. It's extremely common, especially in the governmental world, where the auditor will come in and prepare these financial statements and post journal entries. We continue to work with the city, and I know Leslie wants to make strides in that area, and she's fully capable. And not all of our cities can do it, but I think if that's something that the city wanted to accomplish to get rid of this, they could. So.
Did y'all write a summary to say how they can correct this weakness? Or
We did, yeah, and we have a letter in here that talks about that in more detail if you.
Okay, so the letter, the findings are inside the pamphlet?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
We did meet with staff and made Les and I aware of how we can accomplish this.
What page is the findings on? Is it in the big package? Just curious.
So it should be after your single audit. There's going to be 2 additional letters included in that packet. The thinner letter is going to be the findings and recommendations. And the comment that we're talking about is the first comment.
Somebody found your page and asked.
Page 8.
We're looking for the letter.
It's on the inside.
2-page letters here, if that's what you wanted to go over, but we can continue going over the presentation if you'd like to come back to this. So the next page of the presentation is a summary of your federal grant expenditures, which is included in your single audit. And it does just point out the overall total grant expenditures that you had this year of about $3.6 million. And the 2 major funds that we were required to test as part of the single audit, which includes your EDA grants on the top of $1.5 million and your ARPA funds, your coronavirus relief funds at $1.9 million. All right, so that concludes my summary, but as I mentioned, I'd be happy to go back and talk about anything in more detail if you like.
Leslie, I have a question for you. Did anything that was identified as a part of this whole entire audit process come as a surprise to you? Nothing unexpected?
You've done a good job, Leslie. And I'm used to audits, so when I look at this, that's why I was like, where are the findings? It's not too major.
Oh, it's not major
at all.
And I will say our ability to do our job has a lot to do with the quality of the city staff, and we can only do so much on our side. So the city has to be pointed in the same direction and be motivated to complete the audit and make improvements and provide requests. So it's a team effort, and Leslie and her team did a great job for us, so we appreciate it.
Okay, can I get a motion on item 12F? Oh, 12E, I'm sorry.
Move that we approve resolution R 2024-18, approving the 2023 final audit report.
Second.
I have a motion to approve with a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? So be passes. 12F, consider with possible action on ordinance number 0-2024-11 to approve the 2023-2024 budget amendment number 2.
Leslie, while she get her paperwork together, let me try to summarize this. What we're looking to do with the budget amendment, as you were just made aware, is that our revenues came in higher than what we anticipated. So therefore, what we're asking council to do is take those funds that we was over and transfer those funds into a capital improvement fund to help with those capital improvements, such as the sewer that we need to make repairs to, and also the street rehab that we need to also take upon. You have anything on that?
Is this one? So yes, this is, we're proposing to transfer $2 million from the general fund unassigned fund balance. Mike was just talking about how we have, funds available. And so I would like to transfer those to the capital project fund in order for us to fund, like Kimberly said, projects, equipment, and vehicles that are essential. This is gonna be part of our budget process where, every year, once the audit is final, I'm gonna be transferring, some of the money without, still meeting the requirements of the 6 months. So, I don't know if you can see this, this is, where it says that we need to transfer the $2 million from general fund unassigned fund balance into the capital projects, for us to be able to do, the community center needs to be maintenance and repair and treating, clean, and restriping the entire parking lot, and that's gonna cost, approximately $22,750. Then we have where community center needs to be maintained and repaired by bleaching and washing the building and repairing the section of the stucco damage, which is $7,500. And then we have the two items are for public works, and it's for $132,890, and that's for the generators. This item was budgeted for under impact fees, but once we were looking at it, we were not able to get funds out of the impact fees.
And they would also go for the factory truck.
And that, yes, that's the same thing for the factory truck. And then we need to allocate funds to purchase for Dayton. They are needing a vehicle, and public works as well.
So Brandon and I met with our consultant in regards to impact fees and the funds associated with it. And because of the impact fees being designated just to go to particular items in the capital improvement, we cannot use the funds for the items council originally approved for. So therefore, those funds have to remain and stay in the impact fee funds until we reach the dollar amount that we need to take on some capital improvements that was identified. But we do know, and Leslie, if you would touch bases a little bit on why the funds need to be expenditure, because what I want council to understand is that if we continue to just let the money sit, we over, and our chances, and our credit rating would go down if we continue to hold so much money instead of spending it.
Yeah, for the bond, yes.
And how long would that take before they did that? Because to me, this is a lot of numbers to come in for the night, and just to turn around and make a decision to transfer $2 million over. When there's $1,200,000 that's not accounted for, is what it's gonna be applied to. Mr. Greenbacker needs some stuff. I would like for us to have a better, longer discussion with a better detailed line of what we're gonna use the other 1.2.
If any funds that we use, for instance, the ones that we asking you for right now, we have agenda items for those, which does not equal to be that amount of money. Remember, any purchases over $50,000, I have to bring to council. I cannot, Lisa cannot, or no one else spend funds of that amount without bringing it to council. If you look at your next agenda items, those are the ones that we're trying to get accomplished. It would be 12G through 12J is the ones that we're trying to get done tonight. But what I was trying to have Leslie explain, that those funds cannot sit in our general account like that. because we only supposed to have 6 months of our reserve in there. But before we spend it in the funds, we have to bring that to you, anything over the amount of 50,000.
And the other amount, John, like this is only to approve what you have in this list. The other amount, we'll have to come back to council and do a budget amendment for the amount of like whatever the repair is gonna be. It's not like we're allocating it tonight. It's only gonna be for this item. The other, we're gonna have to come back to council and say, hey, you know, we have this remaining money from the capital projects fund. From that fund, it's gonna be, I'm not sure how much, it could be 500,000, and then that's gonna be allocated to repair the lines. But we have to come back to council, to present it to y'all. We can't just take the money and go and do the project without your consent. It's,
Yeah, my quote right here, it says, said funds will be allocated towards small cash project, equipment and vehicles. That's my concern. If she can go under whatever her allowed is, that council allowed, then there's a lot of stuff you can spend. So I would want it on the record that if this $1,200,000 and something dollars is left, that none of it is spent, because we're gonna have a big project coming up, and it needs to be put in record that we're not spending it for anything else until we have a meeting.
And that's understandable. One of the things that I explained to council again is my point of being transparent. As you could tell, these items that I have brought to you are in the amount that I did not need to bring to council. The city manager could have approved them, but I liked it not to do that because I would like to be totally transparent with council. And I would put that on the record, to make you aware, anything that was not approved thus far in the budget and the remaining of the funds, I will bring it to council for your consideration.
So what I guess, in the interest of what he was saying, what is the harm in only transferring right now what you asked for instead of the entire $2 million?
Because of what I just mentioned, in our general fund, we should not hold that amount of money just in general fund. At least we try to move the money into capital improvement. Capital improvement is more secure because capital improvements is large purchases that I really need to bring to you all. It's better than just sitting in general fund.
So even a month, we can't wait a month to move it.
It's not gonna be any different if you wait a month. It's still gonna, won't have any projects to give you. So it wouldn't make a difference.
for anything, we would have to come to council and allocate those funds.
Yes.
Even, yeah, cause the auditors will.
Over 25,000. Is it 25 or 50? Over 50.
Yes, but Kimberly's bringing everything to y'all, like this 22,000 and this 7,500, she's bringing it to y'all for attention. And this is also something that whenever we start budget and we can say, hey, for the capital projects fund, what projects can be funded out of there?
My concern as well is something that Murphy was saying earlier, that we looked at 2 roads that he said that it was more than we had allocated total, and then he said it was 700,000.
That is correct, and that's why any additional roads or any other work, like was over what you guys have originally gave us, because I believe it was 400,000, the extra 300,000 is gonna come back to you for your approval. We cannot spend that money. Right now, if we don't do anything, we just sitting ducks. Because we got to be able to operate right now. All we asking council to keep us in financial good standing is to remove those, take those funds out of general fund. Listen to what I'm saying, general. That means anything. I'm asking you to put it into capital improvement, which is much larger projects.
So basically just transferring
Yeah,
from one bucket to another bucket.
It's still the
And the
same.
bucket that you're moving it to does not make our credit, it doesn't affect our credit
That's
because we're not
exactly
just
what I'm
sitting
saying.
on surplus money.
Yes.
Okay.
No, I get, as long as we're on record saying that we're not gonna spend this
Yes.
money, because we do have some big projects coming up, and I won't.
That is
Yeah.
correct.
I
We
think
just
she's
moving money,
met
we
that,
just
I
moving
believe,
money,
for me,
so
so.
anything that to be spent has gotta be approved by council.
And I do understand, and John, I appreciate it.
Okay. Can I get a motion on item 12F?
So
So I move that we approve ordinance O 2024-11, as presented.
I second.
I have a motion to approve with a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item 12F carries. Item 12G, consider with possible action on resolution R number 2024-19 to hire Agent Clean to power wash and restructure the community center parking lot and helipad.
This is the items that I was just telling you about that we need to take care of, and Murphy would go ahead and summarize stuff.
So the 12G is the pressure wash and restripe and repaint and clean the helipads here at the community center. In the parking lot, stop, the total parking lot, not just up around the building, the total.
Okay, can I get a motion on item 12G?
Excuse me, I have a question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So did we go out for bids for this?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
It's not a requirement to go out for bid, we went out for quotes because of the dollar amount.
Okay. And you feel like this is fair?
Any more questions? Can I get a motion on item 12G?
Make a motion, we approve resolution R 2024-19 as presented, higher power wash and restripe community center parking lot.
Second.
I have a motion to approve with a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? 12G carries. 12H, consider with possible action on resolution number R 2024-20 to hire FCR Construction and Remodeling to repair the stucco at the community center.
It's pretty self-explanatory there, that the gutters around this building are rotted out, we're having them replaced, y'all approved that back in the budget. But unfortunately, it was left for some time, so it's creating some problems with the stucco around our building. So we need to have that fixed before stucco starts falling off the building.
It has cracked in several locations, pretty bad.
Any other questions? Can I get a motion on item 12H?
Move that we approve resolution R 2024-20 to hire, to approve, repairs to the stucco at the community center.
Second.
All right, I have a motion to approve with a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item 12H carries. Item 12I, consider with possible action on resolution number R 2024 to purchase a new Vector truck.
This is what we had went over and discussed, we were just gonna buy with impact fees, it's just we're bringing it back to purchase it through different funds.
I remember
This
this.
is the same truck,
Same quote and everything.
same thing,
Okay, and our price is still,
still same.
okay.
Let me ask you, is there like this list you went down to see if it met the criteria for the impact funds, or is there somebody you talked to? Because to me, I think of a lot of things that truck could be used for that would be part of that.
The impact fees are crazy.
Yeah, we visited with the engineers that helped establish the impact fees for us, and the consultant, and we went through these different things, and he told us that we're not that expensive for it.
Wow.
Basically, we have to use it on construction, not the tools to construction that day.
I think you
Yes, sir.
can look for lines under the ground, there's several things that can be done, that's why I just.
That was our thought too.
But when you're working with the federal government, jump through their hoops.
Okay, can I get a motion on item 12I?
I move that we approve resolution, what is this, R 2024-21, to purchase the new Vector truck.
Second.
All right, I have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item 12I passes. Item 12J, consider possible action on resolution R number 2024-22 to purchase 2 new generators for the Dayton Park Lift Station and Jameson Lift Station.
These are to replace the old military generators that are currently on site. The Jameson currently don't even run. It's no good. It's not repairable. Dayton Park Apartments, it runs, but you gotta hold your breath.
These was also previously approved to be used impact fees.
Now, are these gonna be new? Because I think the ones that we have were buy board
The
or.
ones that are currently there were bought from military.
Okay,
These are gonna be what?
These are brand, yeah, these are brand new.
these are new and those were used. Okay. I move that we approve, resolution R 2024-22 for purchase of 2 new generators.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion to approve with a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? 12J passes. 12K, consider with possible action on ordinance number 2024-12, approving the zoning map amendment request for a property located at the intersection of Paul Street and Honeycutt Street, legally described as Dayton, block 39, lot 2, tract 3, 413, acres, .413, to make a zone change from general commercial to semi-urban residential.
Good evening again, council. This particular item is a tract of land located at the intersection on the screen here. You can see is at Honeycutt and St. Paul, part of Paul Street. At the edge there, this entire area is mostly residential in character as it exists. And even if you go down Honeycutt coming back towards the city, you'll see that it's trending in residential development. So we recommend approval for this particular tract of land, or to these tracts of land, to also convert to residential development for the developer, for the applicant to permit 2 houses at this site.
So who owns this particular property?
Mr. Washington owns this property as of right now.
Robert Washington.
Right now it's zone commercial and anything that go there within a residential property. Unless it's rezoned to residential, they can go in because it's zone property, they can put a gas station right there. Because the way it's zoned.
Trying to put more duplexes in on it.
Well, it could be, but it's better than a gas station, when you think.
Or they could put a restaurant. Or they could put something.
Right now,
like,
yeah.
I'm just,
But if we were to keep it as commercial again, I think what Ms. Kim is indicating is that you see where it's located. It's pretty deep into
I know
the land
where it's
there.
located.
It's here.
So,
I know where it's at.
so it's a little bit far off of 321. I wouldn't want to invite commercial development along those narrow roads either at this time.
So my question would be, is the property, because I know there's a home, there's 2 homes on that street. And are those considered commercial or are those residential?
They are residentially constructed and they are
Are they-
zoned commercially. So they are non-conforming uses as they exist.
So the residents that live on 321 and Paul Street, if they wanted to sell their property and convert it into a business, currently they can.
Yes, ma'am. Assuming that the size and all that stuff worked out, yes.
Oh, they got the work. I'm asking that for a reason. Okay.
I make a motion, we accept ordinance number 02024-12, approving zoning map as requested.
I have a motion to approve with a second. All in favor say aye. All opposed?
Nay.
Item 12K passes. Item 12L, consider possible action on resolution R 2024-24 regarding the DEDC Board of Directors appointment.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The DEDC Board of Directors has one advisory position available, and we did receive a application for that position. The board did meet last Monday night. At their meeting, they did recommend Tanika Jones to be appointed to the advisory position.
We had 2 applications, however, one was turned in the same day, it was the meeting, and the board elected to go one with the applicant that was already on file.
Tanika Jones.
Can I get a motion on item 12L?
Move that we, resolution R 2024-24, 20 minutes.
All right, it is now 9:19, and I reconvene our Dayton City Council regular session. And can I get a motion on action item 14A?
I move that we authorize the city manager to go out for bids on real estate property ID 59810 as discussed in executive session.
I second.
Okay, I have a motion to approve with a second for 14A1. If all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? 14A1 passes. 14A2.
I move that we purchase the 0.875 acres off FM Highway 1008 as discussed in executive session.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion with a second for 14A2. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? 14A2 passes. 14B.
I move that we authorize the city manager to contract with employees if needed using option number 1 as discussed in executive session.
Okay, I have a motion to approve with a second for 14B. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? 14C.
Mr. Mayor, who seconded that one? I'm sorry.
Jeanette.
Okay, sorry, we just couldn't hear. Somebody coughed.
14C.
Brandon.
To our
I got it.
attorney.
Got it. This is the first reading. A resolution by the City Council of the City of Dayton, Texas, a home rule municipality existing under the laws of the state of Texas, approving the Dayton Economic Development Corporation's project and expenditure of incentive funding for Bennett Motor Express LLC. Whereas on February 12, 2024, Dayton Economic Development Corporation, DEDC Board of Directors met and approved incentive funding for Bennett Motor Express LLC in the amount of $45,000 for economic development purposes, including assistance with permitting, construction, development, and equipment costs associated with Bennett Motor Express LLC, a transportation and logistics project which will be located in the city of Dayton. And whereas the DEDC Board of Directors voted for the $45,000 in incentive funding to be split up into the milestone payments listed below. $20,000 upon hiring 90 employees with at least 50% being local 77535 residents. $15,000 upon hiring 110 employees with at least 50% being local 77535 residents, and $10,000 upon hiring 120 employees with at least 50% being local 77535 residents. And whereas the City Council of the City of Dayton, Texas has carefully reviewed the expenditure of incentive funding as approved by the DEDC and finds that the use of economic development funds for economic development purposes, including assistance with permitting, construction, development, and equipment costs associated with Bennett Motor Express LLC, is in compliance with the guidelines and regulations of the state of Texas as they relate to a Type P economic development corporation. And whereas the City Council of the City of Dayton, Texas hereby finds that this project promotes new and expanded business development and approves of said project under section 505.158 of the Texas Government Code. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Dayton, Texas hereby approves the Dayton Economic Development Corporation's project and expenditure of incentive funding in the amount of $45,000 for Bennett Motor Express LLC as set forth herein. We're gonna do that again.
We're gonna trust you because we didn't hear a word you
Do you
said,
want to do it with your microphone on?
but I need you to do it the second time with your microphone on. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Sorry about that. You could have stopped me.
It's okay. Well, I just want to hear you go all the way through it.
Okay. So I can do it twice again.
Okay,
A resolution.
Resolution
Resolution by
14C,
the
can I
City
get a motion?
Council of
No,
the
he
City.
has to read it twice.
I thought we had to approve it and then you read it twice.
No, we just had to vote on the
Oh,
second.
okay, okay.
Yes.
Okay, sorry.
It's a resolution by the City Council of the City of Dayton, Texas, on rural municipality existing under the laws of the state of Texas, approving the Dayton Economic Development Corporation's project and expenditure of incentive funding for Bennett Motor Express LLC. Whereas on February 12, 2024, Dayton Economic Development Corporation Board of Directors met and approved incentive funding for Bennett Motor Express LLC in the amount of $45,000 for economic development purposes, including assistance with permitting, construction, development, and equipment costs associated with Bennett Motor Express LLC, a transportation and logistics project which will be located in the city of Dayton. And whereas the DEDC Board of Directors voted for the $45,000 in incentive funding to be split up into the milestone payments listed below. $20,000 upon hiring 90 employees, with at least 50% being local 77535 residents. $15,000 upon hiring 110 employees, with at least 50% being local 77535 residents. And $10,000 upon hiring 120 employees, with at least 50% being local 77535 residents. Whereas the City Council of the City of Dayton, Texas has carefully reviewed the expenditure of incentive funding as approved by the DEDC and finds that the use of economic development funds for economic development purposes, including assistance with permitting, construction, development, and equipment costs associated with Bennett Motor Express LLC, is in compliance with the guidelines and regulations of the state of Texas as they relate to a Type B Economic Development Corporation. Whereas the City Council of the City of Dayton, Texas hereby finds that this project promotes new and expanded business development and approves of said project under Section 505.15A of the Texas Government Code. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Dayton, Texas hereby approves the Dayton Economic Development Corporation's project and expenditure of incentive funding in the amount of $45,000 for Bennett Motor Express LLC as set forth herein.
Can you repeat line 3, section 4?
Hey, I can all night, whatever you want.
Can I get a motion to approve 14C and 14D?
I move that we approve resolution R 2024-14